Okay guys, thanks for joining. So today we'll be looking at grade 11 mathematics November 2015 exam paper. So we'll be looking at question 6. We're given a statement. I'll just quickly read through the statement. The sketch below represents the graph of two parabolas, f and g. F of x, which is equals to 1 over 2, which is half x squared minus 8. The turning point of G is C, which is 2 and 9. And the y-intercept of G is A, which is 0 and 5. B and D are the x-intercepts of F and G, respectively. So, of course, I knew that someone is going to propose that we go through the graph before we tackle the questions. But I think going forward, we should just always try to go through the graphs before attempting to answer any questions so that everyone follows. And again, I think with this additional information, it helps you guys to approach any graphs that, suppose you're treating maybe a question paper of 2013. I think with this kind of advices that you get from these lessons, you can easily and confidently approach those questions and apply the information that we provide in order to tackle those questions. So I think it's always the best to be confident in interpreting the graph than trying to answer the questions without having the basics of the graphs. So before we go any further, I just want to quickly explain something, that when it comes to the functions, we've got a thing called Cartesian plane. So the functions or the graphs are drawn on a Cartesian plane, and a Cartesian plane has two axes, which is the x-axis and the y-axis. So I just want to bring it to your attention that, guys, when you're dealing with the functions, first, before you can even look at how many graphs you've got, where the x-intercepts, where the y-intercepts, firstly, look for your axis. Be able to distinguish your axis from the functions, because you might be having a straight line which is just, let's say, parallel to the x-axis. If you're not careful about identifying your x-axis, then you might be confusing your straight line with one of the axes. It could be a straight line in that direction, or a straight line vertically upwards or parallel to the y-axis. So for this lesson, I especially drew these graphs using different colors. You've got blue, you've got black, and I've drawn the axis using a red pen. So I'll just make a legend there. A legend, say a red line represents Cartesian plane. Cartesian plane. And then we've got our graph of f, which is drawn in blue pen. So we have graph of f. We also have graph of g in black. Graph of g in black. So the reason for this, guys, it was just to make it easy for you to be able to notice how many graphs you've got, and also to distinguish the axis from the functions that we have. So as you can see, we've got one graph of f, which is a parabola, we've got another graph of G, which is a parabola. So I think making use of different colors, it makes it a bit more easy so that you can easily follow. Even when we tackle the questions, you'll be able to see that it actually helps to have these functions drawn in different colors. So now you are able to see that you've got your y-axis, you've got your x-axis. This is the origin. You've got your graph of G, and you also have your graph of F. You have your coordinates there, which is your B, and a coordinate there, which is D. But now you need to be careful. This is the x-intercept of graph of F, which is named B. You then now have the x-intercept of G, which is named D. So I assume at this stage you fully understand what the x and the y-intercepts mean. So obviously in simple terms, it's more like they're saying at B, this is where the graph of F touches the x-axis. So that's what they mean when they say B is the x-intercept of graph of F. So again, in simple terms, at D, this is where the graph of G touches the x-axis. Moving to y-axis, you've got a point which is A. And A, it's a point where the graph of G touches the y-intercept. So that means the graph of G cuts the y-axis at point A, where the y is 5 and obviously x it's 0. And again, the turning point of the graph of G is at C, where x is 2. So that means that point there is 2, and that point there it's 9. It makes sense because that point is higher than that point. And again, most importantly, guys, I think I should I should have actually stated this initially, that these graphs they are not drawn to scale. So not to scale. So what that means is that you shouldn't take a ruler and measure from there to there to be 5 and assume from there to there it should be a difference of, obviously because it's 9, then it should be a difference of 9 and 5, which is 4, and you wonder why it's from there to there longer than from there to there, whereas from here to there it's 5, but it's a bit shorter than that distance, which is supposed to be 4. So that's why I'm saying this graph, it's not drawn to scale. I drew it by hand, trying to redraw what's drawn on the question paper so that I can be able to explain to you how you interpret the functions. So I think so far so good. I'm not sure if there's any of you who'd like to pose a question that you'd like us to have a look at and try to provide answers for that question. But otherwise, if there are no any further questions, I think we can now get ready to start focusing on the first question, which is 6.1. But otherwise, if after some time you think you've got some questions, obviously, as I always say, you're more than welcome to post your questions in the comment section. And obviously, depending on the level of complexity of your questions and again the volume of your questions, I might need to either respond to your questions in the comment section or create a special video where I address all questions asked or posted on the comment section. So I think I'm not sure about you guys, but then I'm ready to start with question 6.1. Okay, that's it. I think we'll explore some more when we move to the first question. But for now, I think this information is enough.